Hey everybody. I figured I'd get back into this again. It's about 5 a.m. and you can see I removed that little uh, video file of me. So we're gonna move on. And we left off at the SSL settings here. So you can see in the settings tab this is the SSL link here. So we're gonna move on from that. And the next thing that I wanted to get into was to go through the WooCommerce. Now, the WooCommerce, that's your shopping cart. If you're not going to be selling anything, so if you're going to be selling courses, you're going to want to make sure that your settings in WooCommerce are all set up properly. Now, you can see up here that the Stripe plugin, for whatever reason, sometimes has issues, and you can follow these instructions here on the WooCommerce website to alleviate that issue. Right now, I'm not too concerned about it. There is another, when you log into your dashboard, right away you're going to see another notice just like this, but it is for the Lifter LMS. It'll show a license number, but it'll say the add-on has been deactivated. Don't worry about that. I'll show you what that is in a few minutes. It has nothing to do with the actual learning management system as far as the functionality that you're going to need for it. Okay, so let's go into WooCommerce. We're going to go right into the settings here. And there's going to be a few things in here, semi-advanced, I would say like intermediate, I guess, things that we're going to go through inside WooCommerce settings. So right away, you're going to want to make sure that all of your information is entered in here for the back end of your store. If you're going to sell to all locations, okay, all countries, it's already selected by default. If you don't want to, you're going to have to specify that. Okay, so you can specify United States, for instance. All right, and that's what it'll look like right there. If you're outside of the US and you have this software, you can select whatever countries you wish to sell for. For me, I'm just going to leave it to sell to all countries. The shipping calculations, it's not going to be necessary because it's obviously a digital product. All right, the geolocate, you're going to have like a Google API for Google Maps API, I'm sorry, and you have to set that up. I'm not going to go into that because it requires going into your Google account and going through all of that. And there's plenty of videos on how to figure out where to find your API for Google Maps, and it's very, very simple. Okay, so I'm not going to go through that. I want to focus on the settings for WordPress, for WooCommerce, and for the learning management system tools. Okay. I enabled my tax rate, so Pennsylvania tax rate is 6% sales tax, so I'm enabling that, and I am required by law to report my taxes, so I've been going to collect taxes. I like to offer coupon codes. I do not select to calculate coupon discounts sequentially. So I only want people to be able to add one coupon code, if that makes sense. And then, of course, the currency options here. So go through all that, make sure that all of your settings are set up properly. I have a business address here. It's my PO box for business. Okay. Then we go into the products tab. And by default, when you get your site set up, this shop page I do not recall if that shop page was already included in the pages that were already created. I cannot recall. I think I had to make that page. So all I did was I come over here to add new page, and I named it shop, saved it, and I was done with it. Came back to my settings. For me personally, I don't like going to a shopping cart after I add a product. And that just gets annoying. If I want to buy more than one product, I just want to add it to the cart and then continue shopping. So that's what this Enable Ajax is right here. It'll allow your visitors to add to cart. They'll stay on the same page and they can continue shopping. So that's typically what I use here. This placeholder, this is just the ID of a particular image, and you can hover over these little question marks here. They'll give you some more information. You will have to change the weight in pounds, but this relates to the shipping options. I change them anyway, just because it's not really necessary, because I'm not actually shipping anything physically. Then go through and enable whichever options you want to down here. Click save, obviously, and then you can go right here. Don't skip over these guys. So the inventory you don't have to worry about. Again, unless you're selling physical products, you don't have to worry about your inventory. The downloadable products, that doesn't pertain to us either, unless you include the download directly onto your website, which means you have to download the apps to your server, and that could easily eat up some bandwidth. So anyway, you don't have to really worry about that, because we selling apps through the VideoApp suite and whatnot, they provide us with an IPN for verifying a purchase, and we just send them the key. Basically we have to send them a key manually. I have not figured out how to use that IPN through Stripe or PayPal yet, but I will, and when I do learn, I will share that with you as well. So let's move on to the tax rates. And again, these are all settings for all this stuff. And another thing you'll see up here, I noticed this earlier, the Klarna order management plugin is not active. It's actually not even installed in the plugins area. That's basically going to give you your customers options for payment. Me personally, it's not necessary to have that Klarna. I've never even heard of it until now. There is a Klarna add-on plugin that is installed, and that's why this management system here is showing up as being inactive. So you don't have to, unless you want to use their service to accept payments. You can accept payments directly through Stripe and or PayPal, and a bunch of other options already built into WooPress. No, I'm sorry, WooCommerce. All right, so price is exclusive. And so again, we're going to go through and check everything in here to make sure that they're set specifically for your company. Everyone, again, is going to be different. Standard rates. On the standard rates, this is where I entered my state sales tax information. So you would insert a row. The country code is just a 2-letter country code for the United States. I just typed in US. My state code, just PA. Zip and city are not relevant. 6% sales tax, and I just named it PA State Sales, and that's all you got to do for that. And I just deleted it. All right, so let me just start over here. And save changes. And that's all there is to it. And You can offer reduced rates or zero rates for taxes. I'm not going to mess with those. I never have in the past, and for me, it's just not necessary. So we're going to move on. And this is where you see the Klarna. All of this information down here is from the Klarna app or plugin, whatever you want to call it. Or, I'm sorry, it's Molly. This is another plugin. I don't understand why they are included in this, but it's there if you want to use it. The Molly app and or the Klarna. You have to go through and get your API and all that stuff from Molly. Again, for me, it's not necessary. All of this is from all here. That's all the Molly settings. And for me, it's just not necessary. But down here, you'll notice different payment methods, and the vast majority of these are already installed on the WooCommerce platform. So for me, I'm going to accept PayPal and Stripe Ally Pay. So if you know what Alibaba or AliExpress are, that's the carrier right there. That's who accepts the payments or processes the payments rather. So if you're a Square customer, you can obviously put Square as an option, and that's mostly going to be on the back end with Square. I don't know if it would actually show on the front end who the processor is with regard to Square themselves. So check your options, and then you're going to go in, and on the right side here, you're going to manage, which basically is going to show, well, I'll just go in PayPal, for instance. You're going to need the live API keys and test API keys. And you're going to also make some additional changes. Now, right here, you see this right here. That is the original address, email address that was loaded onto this website. And I have not edited my PayPal or Stripe just yet. So I'm going to just do that now. The PayPal sandbox, that's just a testing environment. And here's the IPN. There's a link that Paul gives us for IPN. It's a IPN URL that he provides us, and that's what that's all about. Change this again. Excuse me. It's a little dry today. So you can go through and read all this, the identity tokens and all that. So once you, and also right here, the actions. Now this, you want to capture, but there are other options as far as like when you get into Stripe payments and Molly and Klarna. There's going to be different options for you to choose, and they'll walk you through it. Those websites will walk you through all of that stuff. This is not correct, but okay. You can go right here to the PayPal API credentials and learn where you can get your API information for live and for the testing environment. Okay. Just save this. Go on to accounts. Okay. And these are going to be basically more or less your personal preference on how you want to set things up. More or less dealing with automation, how you want to deal with that on the back end. You can choose your privacy policy. Now, by default, within the last, since the GDPR thing came about, WordPress has installed a privacy policy page by default as soon as you load up WordPress, which is awesome. And in order to change the text that is on the privacy policy, you're going to go to settings and privacy, this link right here. Change any of the text, any of the legal jargon that you need to for your company. And the same goes for the cookie notice. The cookie notice is maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs long. Well, this right here will actually show something similar to this, a little bar on the bottom or the top of your page. It basically says that we collect cookies from your visit on the site. So you can change all that text going to those pages. Down here, this refers to the cookies and how long your information is going to be stored on in the database, in the WordPress database on your servers. So the only thing I changed here was the pending orders and the failed orders. I want them at least online, saved for at least 2 months. So if a customer goes to my shopping cart and adds something and doesn't buy right away, it'll still actually be in the shopping cart when they revisit the website within 60 days. The same goes for failed orders. Any orders that are canceled, I'll keep them in the database for 3 days, but after 3 days, that information will be cleaned out of the database. Now, if you leave this empty, all these are empty by default, by the way. So if you leave this empty, what that's going to do is any and all canceled orders will be stored in your database. I want them gone. If someone is going to cancel an order, there's no need for me to keep that information in the database, clogging up bandwidth and all that stuff. So go ahead and click Save Changes once you have all of your settings here completed. And also, right here, this is called a short code with these open and close brackets. It's a short code. Now on here, I cannot remember specifically if this short code will link to the privacy policy page. I think this might just be telling me, hey, add your privacy policy link here. In that case, I'm just going to do it right now, and I'll show you the code and how that looks. So if we just typed in what website I'm on, myvidapps.com/privacy policy. Okay, so what this does right here, everyone's privacy policy page is going to have this this URL right here. And the terminology for that is escaping me right now, so I apologize. So anyway, your privacy policy page URL is going to be whatever your site is, .com/privacy-policy. Okay, so, and this is how you write that code to link to that page. You know what, I'm going to add a little bit more. And that's just going to open up a new tab. That target equals blank. It's just opening up this page in a new tab. That's all that's going to do. So all I'm going to do is copy that. Work smarter, not harder, right? Paste that right there. All right. If you see the little green thing right here, that's actually an app on an extension on my browser here. I run a very heavy browser, but this is called Grammarly. Extremely useful. I highly recommend it. It will save you a lot of headaches down the road with it as far as your grammar and spelling. Now, these emails here This section is basically going to be the emails that WordPress sends automatically. These are not like these are not emails that you would be sending to customers through your email service provider. Whenever somebody orders something from you, this is the email that gets sent to them. If they cancel, this is what they get, and on and on. So you can customize these however you like. Yep, and these from name and address, you want to change those. The header image. Now, if you have the full URL to an image that you want to, let me just show you. This is what the email is going to look like. So this is the header right here, this purple section, and whatever image URL you put in there, it's going to show up right here. And this is that Latin lorem ipsum default text. So whatever email is being sent, this is the format that it will be sent in. And of course, your information down here. And you can see how if you just type in your information, it's not gonna look like this. So let me show you that really quick. And this is that section right here. So I put a page break after the first one, and that's this right here. And I added a second page break right here. Right? So that separates this web address right here, and this is actually hyperlinking both of these lines here to the same website. Now, Web Labs Pro, Strategic Web Labs is my primary website. Web Labs Pro is secondary to that. So I could link to weblabspro.com, but I want to keep everything nice and tidy. So when I go to my Strategic Web Labs, my primary, everything that's on that page, that home page, will actually link to Web Labs Pro and several other websites that I own. So I want to keep that link going directly to my primary site for SEO purposes. SEO is search engine optimization. And so once everything is set there, you can save changes. And I'll give you some tips on where you can learn some HTML, some basic HTML, if that's something that you want to do. And I'll probably do that in one of the later or last video that I do on all of this training. All right, so one page I know that I had to create was this terms page. It was not, it wasn't even a thing on this website. So I had to create a terms page so that I can link my terms and conditions. All of these should be selected by default when you upload your website. And all of these, you don't have to worry about them. They're already linked to the right pages. REST API, webhooks, legacy. So all of these you don't have to worry about unless you want to add these to your website. They're not necessary. Webhooks, if you're in Stripe, primarily if you're in Stripe and you want to add a webhook, for instance, for what do you call it, subscriptions, you may need to add a webhook for Stripe. However, you can add a webhook directly on the payments tab for the Stripe integration. So when you go into Stripe setup, you'll be able to see where you can add a webhook. Legacy API. Again, these are settings that are not necessary. Okay, so we're done with that. And this square here, that's for Square payment processing. And if you're not using it, don't even worry about it. So one of the other things I want to show you here is this status link for WooCommerce. If you did not have certain pages. Actually, I think the My Account page was not generated by default. None of the WooCommerce pages actually were generated by default. So if you come in here, first of all, if you ever have any issues with WordPress, you click this button right here to get a system report, and then you can paste that information into an email to WooCommerce support. All of this information, this is basically like server-side stuff. Now, you don't really have to worry about it, but it's good to kind of go through and make sure that everything looks right. So this right here, it's 256 megabyte upload limit, or memory limit rather. My PHP version, it's I think it's the latest version, 7.3. I thought it was a little bit higher. I thought it was like 7.7, but that might be the latest version. Post max 500. Here's max upload 500 megabytes, and that's if you're doing like a backup, creating a backup file on your website. It might be like it could potentially be 500 or more megabytes, or even in the gigabyte range. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've only ever had one website that was the largest website was about 2.5 gigs of data, which is kind of it's rare, I guess, for medium-sized websites. Most websites are going to be in the maybe 100 to maybe 300 megabytes. So if you're doing a backup and you want to upload it, re-upload it to another WordPress that you have on another server, be aware of your upload limits, because that could have an effect on it, and you would have to call your service provider in order to increase that. And most have limits even on the increasing, and I think 500 might be the max for most hosts. So nothing critical, but it's something that's good to know. And these are all of your active plugins. There is quite a lot on this website. There's 34 plugins, active plugins, that is. So there's the Beaver Builder, which is one of the builders. The DMP Builder, which I'm assuming is an add-on to either Beaver or another editor. It might be an add-on to Beaver, I think, because LMS actually has its own editor as well. Okay, so yeah, it looks like there are 3 editors on this website. So Beaver, the DMP, and the LMS has its own builder. But that's not critical. Just make sure that everything, like I said, make sure you don't have any red marks like this. And if it's not tested with your particular version, don't sweat it. Hopefully that particular plugin will be updated soon, and these notices will disappear. All right, just going through. So I have all of my shop pages are loaded and connected. So I think when I first came in here, it was terms and conditions and my account pages were not set. So I'm going to show you really quick. All right, so I'm going to show you really quick how to do that automatically. Go all the way back up to the top here. So go into tools. You're in the WooCommerce status now again. All right. So you can come into tools and scroll down right here, create default WooCommerce pages. Now, if you already have like a shop page or a checkout page, this will not recreate those pages. It's only going to create the pages for WooCommerce that are not available on your site currently. So you just come over here and create pages. It'll do it automatically for you, and the shortcodes for WooCommerce will already be installed automatically for you, so you don't have to really worry about that. Once you get those pages done, you come back in and into the settings to set your page, but I think it does it automatically. After that, that's pretty much it as far as WooCommerce goes. So the next video, it's already 30 minutes on this one, so I'm going to close this one out, and I'm going to go into the Lifter LMS settings in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.